Hi, and welcome to Dirtbike's 2023 Two-Stroke Buyer's Guide. Despite everything, the two-stroke market for 2023 is as strong and diverse as ever. The current collection of dirt bikes from a dozen different makers includes two-stroke models for both off-road and motocross. They include carbureted and fuel-injected bikes, and their extensive offerings for kids and beginners. We've gathered together more than 60 examples of the best two-strokes on the market in the U.S., along with prices, photos, and information. The prices shown do not include destination setup, taxes, or other dealer fees. We're going to go over a lot of bikes here, and they're indexed from big to small, so skip ahead to find the size bikes that you're interested in. The Beta 300RR and 250RR are off-road two-strokes. They sell for $9,899 and $9,699 respectively. Beta's two-strokes have a new look for 2023. The bodywork has been slimmed down, and the Sachs fork has new valving. The RR models still have oil injection, hydraulic clutches, and Nissan brakes. Last year, Beta altered the 300's bore and stroke, while the 250 was unchanged. Both got a diaphragm spring clutch and a new head. Each bike is available in a race edition with KYB suspension for an additional $500. Beta 300RX. This is a motocross bike that sells for $9,399. Beta's effort on the MXGP stage with Jeremy Van Horbeek has attracted a lot of attention, but it's the production 300RX two-stroke that has most U.S. riders excited. It's an electric start 300 with a key-in carburetor. It has a KYB closed cartridge fork and a KYB shock this year. The basic motor and frame are from the 300RR off-road bike, but there's no oil injection, and it's in a much more aggressive state of tune. Beta 300 X-Trainer. This is an off-road bike that sells for $8,299. Everyone knows that a European 300cc two-stroke is like magic on the trail. Likewise, everyone knows that they carry a very high price, not the Beta X-Trainer. This is an electric start 6-speed 300cc two-stroke with oil injection, just like the RR models, but it's less competition-oriented. Components like the suspension and brakes are from less well-known suppliers. The lower seat height makes it appealing to entry-level off-road riders too. GasGas EX300 and GasGas EX250. These are off-road bikes that sell for $10,399 and $10,099 respectively. The EX300 and EX250 are the more competition-oriented race bikes in the GasGas line. They feature the WP Exact Air Fork and are stripped of all trail riding accessories like headlights, taillights, and odometers. They're unchanged for 2023, which means they still have transfer port injection, unlike their counterparts in the Husqvarna and KTM lines. They also have fewer name brand components, so the bikes can be offered at a lower price. GasGas EC300 and EC250. These are off-road bikes that sell for $10,399 and $10,099 respectively. The GasGas EC300 and EC250 have the same frame as the bikes in the more competition-oriented EX line, but these are designed with trail riders in mind. They use the coil spring WP Explorer fork and the Exact shock with comparatively soft settings. The EC bikes also have a softer power delivery, wider gear ratios, and a headlight, taillight, and odometer. The hydraulic clutch is Brembo. The brakes are by BrakeTech. The 300 and 250 are identical aside from displacement. Husqvarna TE300i. This is an off-road bike that sells for $11,199. Husqvarna chose to leave its trail-oriented TE300 unchanged for 2023. That means the TE still has TPI fuel injection and oil injection. The hydraulic brakes are supplied by BrakeTech, and the fork is the WP Explorer with 2 coil springs. The Husky's WP shock employs linkage, whereas its counterpart in the KTM line uses PDS suspension without linkage. A Heritage Edition in Swedish national colors is available for $100 more. A Husky TE300 Rockstar Edition is also available with upgraded accessories for $11,799. Husqvarna TX300. This is an off-road bike that sells for $11,199. Everything is new on the 2023 TX300. That might make some riders nervous, but the package is promising. It has a new motor with throttle body fuel injection. It also shares its frame design with the current motocross bikes in Husqvarna's line. The 6-speed gearbox, WP Exact fork, Brembo hydraulic clutch, and Brembo brakes are still there. The oil injection and the provision for a Kickstarter are not. A Heritage Edition in Swedish national colors is available for $100 more. KTM 300XC and 250 XC. These are off-road bikes that sell for $11,099 and $10,799. For 2023, KTM presented one of the most extensive lineups of redesigned bikes in the company's history. The XC two-strokes were included in the sweep. Both got the new chassis akin to the one the motocross bikes received. They also got new motors with throttle body fuel injection. The KTM 300 XC has a very motocross-oriented suspension package with a WP exact air fork and a linkage rear shock. The 250 XC is identical to the 300 XC aside from displacement. KTM 300 XCW and 250 XCW. These are off-road bikes. They sell for $11,099 and $10,799 respectively. PDS suspension still has a fanatical following among off-road riders. The 300 XCW and 250 XCW are built around that no-linkage rear suspension design and are therefore lighter and have more ground clearance than the linkage bikes. The XCW two-strokes are made with the trail rider in mind. They still have TPI fuel injection and oil injection for 2023. There's even a place to install a Kickstarter if you like. KTM also offers the upgraded 300 XCW Erzberg edition for $12,649. KTM 300 SX and 250 SX. These are motocross bikes that sell for $9,199 and $8,949 respectively. This year, the 300 SX is a new model for the US, and even though a 250 SX motocross bike was offered last year, this one is completely different. The two bikes are almost identical aside from bore and stroke. They now have throttle body fuel injection, not TPI, and electric start. Both get a new motocross-oriented chassis with a WP Explorer air fork and linkage rear suspension. Brakes and clutch are by Brembo. Riehu 300 MR Pro and 250 MR Pro. These are off-road bikes that sell for $10,599 and $10,499. After a year in the U.S., we're finally learning how to pronounce Riehu. This is a Spanish company that now owns all the tooling and the rights to produce the two-stroke off-road bikes that were formerly known as GasGas. The MR Pro is the premium line with a closed cartridge KYB fork and other accessories. The 250 version is identical with a 6-speed gearbox, a hydraulic clutch, and Nissan brakes. There's also a 200 MR Pro for $10,399. Riehu 300 MR Racing and 250 MR Racing. These are off-road bikes that sell for $9,699 and $9,599. Riehu is slowly and surely working its way into the mainstream of off-road riders in the U.S. The racing version is the standard model. It has a 6-speed, case-reed two-stroke motor with an open cartridge KYB fork and a KYB shock. All the Riehus have electric start as well as a backup Kickstarter. For 2023, there are no changes. Riehu also makes the racing model in a 200 configuration for $9,499. Riehu 300 MR Ranger and 200 MR Ranger. These are off-road bikes that sell for $8,799 and $8,599. Riehu is not a budget brand by any means, but the Spanish company does have a more affordable line of motorcycles offered at a lower price. The Rangers are designed with less experienced riders in mind. They have a much lower seat height than the standard models and a milder power delivery. The price is around $1,000 less than the standard models, too. Most of the cost savings are in the components, such as bars, suspension, and brakes. The 200 Ranger is identical to the 300 aside from displacement. Sherco SE300 and SE250 factory. These are off-road bikes that sell for $11,849 and $11,699. Sherco has become a premier name in the world of hard enduro, with riders like Cody Webb, Mario Roman, and Wade Young taking to the top of some of the most difficult races in the world. The SE300 and SE250 are electric start carbureted two-strokes with electronic power valves, hydraulic clutches, Brembo brakes, and a reputation for excelling in the worst terrain. The 2023 models have closed cartridge KYB suspension, TM EN300ES and EN250ES. These are off-road bikes that sell for $11,145 and $10,895. TM is a small Italian company with a big reputation. The two-stroke enduro bikes got a number of changes in 2022 and now return with new graphics and detailed upgrades. The EN300ES is an electric start two-stroke with an electronic power valve. It also has an aluminum frame, a KYB fork, and a shock made in-house at TM. Standard models have key-in carbs, and TM also offers them with TPI fuel injection. TM MX300ES and MX250ES. These are motocross versions. They both sell for $10,395. For years, TM has been the only company in the U.S. offering a 300cc two-stroke motocross bike in addition to its 250. Now they've inspired a whole class of competitors, but the TM will still stand out. It features an electronic power valve, an aluminum frame, and a KYB fork. TM makes its own rear shock. The standard model will have a key-in carburetor. There's also a version with TPI fuel injection. GasGas MC250. This is a motocross bike that sells for $8,349. The GasGas MC250 is unchanged for 2023, which means it's the only 250cc motocross bike in the combined GasGas, Husqvarna, KTM lineup with a carb and a kickstarter. There's no fuel injection, no electric start, no map switch. As a result, the MC250 is light, simple, and inexpensive. It's also very fast. The front suspension is a WP Exact air fork. The brakes are Brembo, and the rims are silver, just like they were in the old days. GPX TSE 250R. This is an off-road bike that sells for $5,699. The history of this electric start 6-speed can be traced back to the Yamaha WR200 of the early 90s. It had a short run in the US, but saw service in other markets as a dual sport bike. The bike has evolved over the years, and now it's manufactured in mainland Asia and imported to the US by the guys at Pitster Pro. Husqvarna TC 250. This is a motocross bike that sells for $9,049. Husqvarna went a little crazy with the TC 250 for 2023. Everything is new. The motor, the frame, the bodywork, and the electronics package. Along the way, it got electric start and throttle body fuel injection. It's very similar to the new KTM 250SX, but will have a slightly lower seat height and shorter suspension travel. It also differs in airbox design, handlebar make, rims, and bodywork. The brakes are Brembo, the fork is a WP Exact, and the hydraulic clutch is Brembo. The Heritage Edition will sell for $9,149. Yamaha YZ250 Monster Energy Edition. This is a special edition motocross bike that sells for $8,099. Yamaha wowed us with extensive changes for the YZ250 two-stroke in 2022. The 2023 version is understandably unchanged. The YZ250 ME edition gets black plastic and graphics similar to those of the star Yamaha racing team. Otherwise, the bike is the same as the standard version. Yamaha YZ250 standard version. This is a motocross bike that sells for $7,899. After giving the 2022 YZ250 two-stroke new bodywork and suspension updates for 2022, the 2023 version is unchanged, as it probably will be for some time. The YZ250 still uses a key-in carburetor with a power jet and a throttle position sensor. The front suspension is very similar to that of the current YZ250F motocross bike, but with smaller axle carriers to accommodate smaller axles. The new bodywork is a hit. It makes the bike seem like the product of modern times. Yamaha YZ250X off-road version. This bike sells for $7,099. Last year, Yamaha reworked the YZ250 two-stroke motocross bike, and for 2023, the YZ250X off-road bike got the same updates. That includes new bodywork plus updated suspension and brakes. The X is considered a cross-country racer and has a number of features for that specialty. The 5-speed gearbox has wider ratios, the power delivery is softer, the suspension has off-road valving, the rear wheel is an 18-incher, and it has an O-ring chain and a kickstand. The tires are Dunlop AT81s. Beta 200 RR. This is an off-road bike that sells for $9,299. If you were around in the 90s, you'd know that the 200 two-stroke used to be an American off-road institution. Beta remembers that and offers the 200RR to fill that gap today. The motor has a bigger bore and a longer stroke than the 125RR. It also has electric start, oil injection, sack suspension, Nissan brakes, and a 6-speed gearbox. For 2023, it gets an upgraded sax fork along with new bodywork and graphics. Husqvarna TE150i. This is an off-road bike that sells for $9,899. Like all the TE models in the Husqvarna line, the 150 is unchanged for 2023. It still has TPI fuel injection, whereas the more competition-oriented two-strokes have turned to throttle body fuel injection. The TE is trail-oriented with a power delivery that is smooth and sweet compared to other 144cc two-strokes. The bike uses the WP Explorer coil spring fork in front and linkage suspension in the rear. The brakes are by BrakeTech. KTM 150 XCW. This off-road bike sells for $9,799. The KTM 150 XCW is now completely different from the 125 SX motocross bike and the KTM 125 XC cross-country racer. Both of those bikes are new, whereas the 150 XCW is unchanged for 2023. The XC still has TPI fuel injection, oil injection, and no linkage PDS rear suspension. Beyond that, the 150 XCW has a mellower personality, softer suspension settings, lights, a kickstand, an odometer, an 18-inch rear wheel, and wider ratio gearbox. TM EN144 Fi and EN125 Fi. These are fuel-injected off-road two-strokes that sell for $10,695 and $10,195, respectively. TM offers its own version of transfer port fuel injection and uses completely different components from those used by KTM. The EN144 Fi and EN125 Fi are kickstart 6-speeds in full enduro trim. The frame is beautifully hand-welded aluminum. The fork is KYB and the shock is made in-house by TM. The power valve is electronically controlled. The 144 can still be had without fuel injection as well for $10,395. TM MX 144 and MX 125. These are the motocross versions. They sell for $9,495 and $9,195. Small bore two-strokes are a defining part of TM's identity, extending beyond motorcycle circles and into the karting world. The MX 144 and MX 125 have different bore and stroke configurations, but are otherwise identical to each other. The power valve is electronic, but starting is accomplished through an old-school kickstarter. The frame is hand-welded aluminum. The fork is KYB, and the shock is made in-house by TM. Beta 125RR. This off-road two-stroke sells for $8,599. For 2023, Beta concentrated most of its efforts on the 125RR. This bike is only 3 years old, but the engineers already saw places to make improvements. The crank is smaller, the flywheel weight has decreased, and the smaller crank results in increased crankcase volume, and that, along with a new head, altered the power delivery. Starting is performed with a kickstarter, and fuel mixture is through a 36mm Kian carburetor. This model does not feature Beta's oil injection system. GasGas MC125. This motocross bike sells for $7,349. The GasGas MC125 is now completely different from the other 125s in the combined Pereira Mobility motorcycle group. By going unchanged for 2023, the MC125 has become the old-school alternative for the motocross purist. The other bikes are now fuel-injected and electric start, whereas the GasGas is kickstart and has a Mikuni carburetor. Additionally, GasGas managed to keep the price down by using non-name brand components. Husqvarna TC125. This is the motocross version that sells for $8,049. The Husky TC125 is another of the bikes in the Pereira Mobility Group that got a complete redesign for 2023. The TC125 motor is identical to that of the KTM 125SX, which means it lost its kickstarter and gained throttle body fuel injection. Husqvarna's chassis has a number of differences from KTM's, including different bodywork, an integrated airbox subframe, and a Pro Taper handlebar. Husqvarna does not offer a 144cc version of the TC125 yet. The 125 will also come in a Heritage Edition, which carries an MSRP of $8,249. KTM 125XC. This is the off-road version of this bike that sells for $8,249. The KTM 125XC is a blood brother to the 125SX motocross bike, but set up for cross-country racing with softer suspension, more fuel capacity, an 18-inch rear wheel, and a kickstand. Like the SX, it's a new bike for 2023 with throttle body fuel injection and electric start. Even if you want to install a Kickstarter, there's no longer a place to put one. The chassis and bodywork are also all new and straight from the motocross world. KTM 125SX. This is a motocross bike that sells for $7,949. KTM is taking a bit of a risk with the 2023 125SX. The Kickstarter and the carburetor are gone for good. In their place is an electric starter and throttle body fuel injection. That's only the beginning. The frame and the bodywork are new, akin to what is currently being used by the Red Bull KTM Pro Motocross team. For now, there is no 150 in the lineup, but one will probably follow soon. Sherco SE 125 Factory. This is an off-road bike that sells for $9,999. Sherco's 125 two-stroke is still the newest bike in the line, introduced in 2018. As such, it has received evolutionary changes each year. The SE125 Factory has electric start as well as an electronic power valve. The fork is a closed cartridge KYB and the brakes are Brembos. The SE125 also has lights and an odometer. A key and carburetor feeds a Moto Tassinari V-Force reed block. Yamaha YZ125 Monster Energy Edition. This motocross special edition sells for $7,199. Even though the star Yamaha racing team doesn't officially race the YZ125 in pro competition, you can bet they have a small fleet of them in their Florida headquarters just for fun. The Monster Energy Edition has graphics that are a tribute to that team and the success they've enjoyed in both the Monster Energy Supercross Series and the Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Series. Under the Monster graphics in black plastic, it's the same as the Standard Edition. YZ125 Standard Edition. This is a motocross bike that sells for $6,999. The Yamaha YZ125 can lay claim to having the longest production run of any bike sold in the U.S. Last year, the bike saw one of the most extensive redesigns in its 49-year history. It got a new motor, new bodywork, and updated suspension. Only the aluminum central backbone frame is carried over from the previous model. For 2023, Yamaha let its engineers take a break and is offering the bike unchanged aside from cosmetics. Yamaha YZ125X. This is the off-road version of the 125. It sells for $7,099. The Yamaha YZ125X off-road bike has only been available since 2020, but it's still got a major makeover for 2023. It benefited from all the same changes that the motocross version got in 2022, including a new motor and new bodywork. In order to make it into an off-road bike, it also has differences in the power valve, head, and ignition mapping. The suspension has off-road settings too. It has an 18-inch rear wheel, a kickstand, Dunlop AT81 tires, and a reserve position on the petcock. That does it for the 125, 250s, and 300s. Next up, stay tuned for a dirt bike buyer's guide on the mini two-strokes offered for 2023. Thanks for watching.